go on a Tuesday, second hour. This is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, we are live on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and right here on FS1. Crazy Rob Parker, part of The Odd Couple on Fox Sports Radio with Chris Broussard is going to be joining me in 15 minutes. So this is a funny story. So Tom Brady put his Boston mansion on the market, meaning he put it up for sale. He has since taken it off the market. So I'll get to that in a second, why he did that, and it's very interesting. He lives in the Brookline section of Boston. I've always thought it's interesting. Troy Aikman felt, Joy Taylor, like a Dallas Cowboy. He felt like Dallas.
Right.
He sounded like Dallas. He looked like Dallas. He talked like Dallas. He played like Dallas. Joe Namath felt like New York City. The mink coats, the hair, the looks. Big Ben feels like Pittsburgh. Okay, I never thought Brady felt like Boston. Boston's cranky and parochial and provincial and political and pessimistic and cold, and they talk Sox and Sam Adams, and Brady's happy and aspirational and global and optimistic and not overly political in terms of career. I always feel like Tom doesn't feel like Boston, not to mention his wife is a supermodel, a Brazilian supermodel, and if you say cold, cranky, political, Sox, Sam Adams, that doesn't sound like you're retiring in Boston. I never feel like they're a Boston couple. They just happen to, like a lot of Americans, they just happen to work in Boston, and this is where they'll stay. They put their house up. They were looking for something in Alpine, New Jersey, which is a rich person area, and Greenwich, Connecticut, which is an even richer person area. They have now since taken it off the market. It's funny about this. And, you can make jokes about Boston, but I've never felt Tom's personality, and maybe it's a California thing. I don't think Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't really feel like Green Bay. And
no.
He doesn't. And I don't think necessarily Russell Wilson feels like Seattle. He feels like almost New York or L.A. Ciara impacts that. So there are certain guys. Eli Manning, to me, doesn't feel like New York. He just works in New York. But it's interesting with Brady. He put his house on the market. So Tom's made $200 million, smart with his money, homes everywhere. His wife's made $500 million. It's not a money thing. They didn't need to put their house on the market for money. Not to mention, LeBron's still trying to sell his place in Akron. I think Tom Brady's place would be on the market at $40 million in Brookline for a while. That's a hard house to sell anywhere. Boston can be kind of geographically isolated. Not saying there's not money and smart people and a lot of income, but that's a big house in a area, cold area. So, but the reason Tom Brady put his house on the market is because in this instance, this shows you the competitive nature of him. Okay, this shows you, Brady, don't mess with me. You mess with me, I'll put my house on the market, make sure the media hears, and then the Patriots pay him, and he takes his house off the market. I said Tom's not political. That's very savvy and very political and very shrewd. Tom is letting you know, I may take a discount, but you're not going to run me out of town here. I am ready to move. I'm going to be financially nimble. He didn't have to sell that house. That was imaging. He didn't really want to sell that house. How do I know? Because once I gave him a contract, he took the house off the market. That was, look, I'll take a little less, but don't think I don't have leverage. Don't think I'm crying over here. Don't think I'm in the corner of my house huddled, feeling weakened. No, I'll put my house up in the market. I'll go free agent next year. I'll just leave. You can't franchise tag me. They didn't give me that in the contract. You can't franchise tag. This is where Tom is telling all of us, this ain't over. This is not nearly as close to over as you think. I'm still competitive. I still want leverage. I'm still fighting for my money. I'll sell my home. I'll stay nimble. That's what that told you what Brady did. Listen, if Brady was a year from retirement, you just sit there in the house. You just keep the damn thing. It's $40 million. It's cold in the winter. You just keep it. He put it on the market, then took it off to tell you, I'm not going to be used. I'm not an old man. I'm still viable. I'll move tomorrow. Don't put baby in a corner. It's not going to work that way with me. I'll give you a little bit of a deal on the contract, but I'm still the most competitive guy on this franchise. And that's where that's where Tom was sending a message. And that's okay. It's not a bad message. But it's a message.
How's that work when you get to go walk around and take a showing of Tom Brady's house? Do you have to get vetted first?
Do you know we found Tom's neighbors. Maybe one of the reasons he wants to leave is we found his neighbors. We have a tape of Tom's neighbors.
Oh.
They're very Boston.
We're driving on McGrath Highway in Somerville, and I noticed a couple cars swinging, like moving to the right, and we seen something in the street. And he's like, Louis, what is that? What is it? I'm like, I don't know. What is it? So I ran across the highway to grab it. We brought it in the car. We had no idea what it was. First thing I said, this belongs to the Red Sox. This is for Fenway Park.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that they hang it off the Green Monster.
Right. I mean,
we need to negotiate here. We want.
Yeah.
We're looking for,
Listen,
like, you know.
We're working too.
Yeah.
I mean, my man had to run across 3 lanes, traffic.
Those are Tom's neighbors.
Just legendary. Well, at least they're thoughtful.
Very thoughtful neighbors.
They're going to make sure the house is cool while you're out of town.
They love the Sox. They love the Sox. So Brady's just sending a little messaging out there. I may be 42. I'm not an old man. I'm not cowering in the corner. I'll put this puppy up for sale. I'll buy a house in New Jersey. By the way, Belichick hates the Jets and Giants and all that stuff, right? I'll move over to New Jersey. Don't kid yourself. I can move. A little messaging by Tommy. By the way, I saw this. This got voted on. The All-Decade Team. NBA.com came out with this. The All-Decade Team. The best NBA players of the 2010 decade, right? 2010 to 2020. So the first team, I totally agree with. 10 rings over a 10-year span. Curry, James Harden, LeBron, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard. That is a great team. I agree across the board. Steph Curry, James Harden, LeBron, Durant, Kawhi Leonard. It's basically LeBron James and people who could beat LeBron James and James Harden. The second team, good hell, this is my personal nightmare. Chris Paul, Westbrook, Blake Griffin, Carmelo Anthony, and Anthony Davis. No rings. Hard to play with outside of Anthony Davis. The first team is winners. The second team is really good on Instagram. They're only missing John Wall. The drop-off first to second team. This shows you, and they say this in every business, that it doesn't matter what the business is. In every business, you've heard this before, Joy, 10% of the people, are influencing 90% of the outcomes.
Right.
Real estate, medicine, there's a top 10%. Look at the first team, all-decade team, Curry, LeBron, Durant, Kawhi, Harden, and look at the second team. Look at the drop-off. It's highlight guy. It's Instagram guy. It's hard to coach guy. It's sometimes lacks self-awareness guy. Now, Anthony Davis is the one guy in the second team I like, and James Harden is the one guy on the first team, though he deserves it, that can drive me nuts. Harden, I think, does deserve first team. Anthony Davis, I do believe, deserves second team. But the drop-off there, even in the NBA, the drop-off from the top group to the second group. Now, the third group was even goofier, but that's because it was D-Wade and Kobe, and they got old in the decade.
That was the most debated.
Yeah, and this is, don't take much out of this. Giannis is just a baby. Kobe and Dwayne Wade got very old in the decade. LaMarcus Aldridge, I wouldn't put him there, but whatevs. That team's just a mishmash of stuff that I wouldn't get too caught up on that. Again, if you'd have gone the previous decade, not 2010 and on, Kobe's probably in that one. So don't that's not a shot at Kobe. It's just the way the 10 years worked out. They didn't align perfectly with D-Wade and Kobe's peak years. But the first team, amazing. Second team, you need like 4 basketballs to get it up the floor. Coming up next, Rob Parker, LeVar Arrington, too, and a former NFL defensive end for the Giants, Jags, and Jets will join us. His thoughts on what I'm hearing out of the Jets camp, which is very encouraging. We've been telling you about M-Drive for years. M-Drive is a product line that was created by Gary, a scientist in Arizona, who wanted more energy as his kids in their early 20s were hikers and bikers and trail runners, and he wanted to be part of that community and part of his family and felt he was losing stamina and energy like everybody does, all men do in their mid-40s. Testosterone levels drop. So they created M-Drive, and one of the products within the M-Drive line is M-Drive Boost and Burn, clinically tested ingredients that elevate your T levels and help you burn fat. Walgreens has it, so does Rite Aid and Vitamin Shop, or you can just go online at mdriveformen.com and type in the code HERD. mdriveformen.com. A little more stamina, energy, and strength. Don't want age to define you or beat you. You get to be 45. You sleep a little longer, nap a little more. Want to get it back? Go to M-Drive Boost and Burn.